How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. Hey there, everybody. Welcome into the latest episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass podcast. We're just getting back into the office, completing our first event of the season on the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. Took place at Kentucky Lake. The Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley had close to 600 anglers competing in about 250 boats, total of $40,000 in prizes and contingencies on the line. The winner of that tournament, Harlan Thomas from Murray State University. Murray State entered that event ranked in the top 10. Going to gain a lot of valuable points that we'll talk about later in this episode as we talk to Harlan about everything that goes down there at Kentucky Lake. He wins a bunch of prizes. He catches several big fish as well as valuable points towards that Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Harlan, let's bring you in real quick, man. Just a victory. Talk about it real fast. We're only a couple days removed from the conclusion of the tournament on Sunday. What's it like? What's the momentum been like coming out of the tournament? Just all the congratulations and well wishes for the major victory.
And it's been awesome. You know, I've had over 200 messages, and you know it took some time to hit me after it, but after about the first couple days prior to winning the tournament, you know, it hit me, and it's a great feeling. You know, it's opened up a ton of new opportunities for me, and it looks really good on the team. The whole team really did great. It wasn't just me. I was able to, seal the deal for us, but we had several other teams up in that top 20 range, another team in the top 10. So, it's been great, and I'm just getting finished up responding to everybody, but, I want to keep the momentum going. I've got a big tournament coming up for about $20,000, the Jetta Marina Classic, and it's on Kentucky Lake too, so if I could keep that momentum rolling into that one and pull something off there, that would be awesome.
Let's talk about the first place fish. You waded in for session 4 on day 1, that session presented by Garmin. So just right there, you won a $1,500 Garmin credit and a $200 Bass Pro Shops gift card. That fish went on to hold on to win the entire tournament. So 6.31 is how much that fish weighed. Overall, also paid out $5,000 in total product, including a Power Pole gift certificate, Bob's Machine Shop jack plate, $1,000 Bass Pro Shops gift card, 2 Abu Garcia casting rods, and a pair of Bahio sunglasses. So that right there, that one fish earns you well over $6,000 in total items, of which you also claimed a couple contingencies, the Yamaha logo bonus through the ACA Garmin Tournament Rewards and the ACA logo contingency. So that one fish brings you in a lot of stuff, not to mention there's a second bass we'll talk about in a minute. So all total, as we wrote on the website at collegiatebasschampionship.com, man, you netted over $9,000 in total products, prizes, and contingencies. How awesome is that? No entry fee tournament, 2 days of competition as a college angler to go out and cash in with like that with 2 fish total, 1 fish paying out a lot by itself. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. I've never fished another tournament like it. Normally to win that kind of money, you're paying some big entry fees. So, yeah, that was an awesome opportunity to be able to, not pay any entry fees, show up to my home lake and pull it off, get it done. And obviously, I couldn't have done it without the Garmin electronics and the Yamaha to get me there. So, the Garmin electronics, the live scope is really what did it for me, because I was able to find and locate those fish without, being able to practice throughout the week. So I had some unfortunate events earlier in the week, and it put me out of the boat for that tournament. And I was lucky enough to get in a boat from Lake Life Marine, and, the Garmin electronics, that's what did it for me for sure, because that live scope really helped me to locate those fish out on a limb. So that was a big deal for me.
For sure. Let's talk exactly about how exactly you were targeting those bass. So with the live scope, were you just finding targets you wanted to cast to? I've already seen some of that as I'm looking through the content and the footage. Anglers are saying, I'm not necessarily watching the fish bite, but I'm able to stay back of these areas. Kentucky Lake known for having a lot of offshore structure and also up near the shore, river channel swing in and stuff like that. So you're keeping an eye out for a lot of different things. Or were you seeing the fish bite? Kind of talk about how you implemented live scope to go about catching your fish.
So there was a little bit of a thought process beforehand. When I first got out there, I noticed that they had dropped the current about 10,000, and anytime they drop that current, whether it's 5,000 or 10,000, That's going to shut those main lake fish off, those current orientated fish out there on the main lake. It's gonna turn them off. So immediately I went into some bigger bays and stuff and started looking around in there where current wouldn't play as much of a factor. And I started out using my Garmin live scope to locate brush piles. And so I ran to the very back, started back there, and worked my way to the mouth of the bay. And in the back, I found about 10 brush piles on the first spot I found. The first one, it had about a 3.5 in it, and it was about 11 o'clock when I caught my first one. It was about a 3.5, and of course, I was fishing a wind, so that one wasn't going to do much for me, so I didn't even bother to go weigh it in. I stayed out there, and within another 10 to 20 minutes, I was able to put another big one in the boat, and that was during the third period of the first day, which gave me the lead for that period at the time. And then later, I had one period left. I knew that was the day to do it. The conditions were right. I had the time. So I ran and found me another spot in the same area, but a little bit apart. It was a new spot, and I used my Garmin to locate a ledge that was kind of a sneak hole. Not a lot of people knew about it. Nobody was really fishing it, even though there was tons of boats around it. It was around some big community areas. Nobody had found those fish, and I don't think I could have found them without the live scope. And it was important for the brush to be on that ledge and for the shade to be on that ledge. So shade is a huge deal this time of year. And all I had to do really was look up at the sun, and that kind of told me which ledges to look at. So I found the first one I pulled up to, and I saw one big fish with my live scope on there, all by himself out there. And I ran a couple baits by his face, tried to get him fired up. He reacted a little bit, wasn't acting too enthusiastic about what I was throwing at him, so I switched it up. And there on the last cast, I was able to watch that fish eat it, reel him in, flip him into the boat, and I hauled butt back to weigh in and weighed him in there at the last minute. So the Garmin Live Scope really helped me to catch that fish specifically, along with the rest of them.
That's awesome, man. That's a lot of detail, a lot of good information there. Anybody wanting to learn live scope and figure out how to catch them that way, if you're not already interested, hearing that story is enough to get you excited and want to figure out how to go do it. The way that you were targeting these fish, were you fishing, you're talking about trying to get that fish aggravated. So are you swimming a swim bait through there? Are you, dredging a crankbait? Or would you pull up and go a little more finesse? Or were you power fishing but still throwing a worm, whether it be a Carolina rig? We heard a lot of that mentioned throughout the weekend as anglers were targeting the brush. How did you go about catching the majority of these fish? Were they all on a similar pattern, or were you mixing it up and they came on a variety of different baits?
They were on a similar pattern, but eating a variety of baits. But it was the common denominator with the baits that they wanted were things that were slow and on the bottom. But when it came to that big one, he was a big fish. He wasn't going to bite easily, and I knew that. So what I did to get him to bite was I picked up a Strike King 10XD, and I ran it by his face about 2 times. And that was enough. I knew he wasn't going to bite it, but it was enough for me to be able to see that fish kind of turn a little bit and get a little bit more aggravated. And that's whenever I picked up my Carolina rig. I threw that Carolina rig at him, and I did that about 6 times in a row, as slow as I could, just kept dragging it by his face. And like I said, on that last cast, he finally loaded up on it, and I was able to get a good hook into him and land that fish.
And so on day 2 of competition, special rule, this is the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. So anglers are permitted to use only Berkley baits as you go out there and compete on Kentucky Lake. Talk a little bit about the baits that you used there on day 2 of tournament competition, or maybe even if you used any of them on day 1, soft plastics, hard baits, top waters. We're talking about your pattern earlier. You're fishing out deep, so soft plastics likely played a part into what you threw on that second day from Berkley.
Yeah, soft plastics definitely played a huge deal, and it was no challenge on the second day to have to use Berkley baits. It was completely fine because they make a great line of baits and a good variety for sure. But in my case, I needed, all soft plastics because I was throwing on either on the back of a jig or I was throwing it on a Carolina rig. So, what I did is after day 1, I went to the store and I bought every single pack of Berkley soft plastic baits, all their crawls, their different styles, and Cinco styles. I think it's called the General is the one that I caught most of mine on the second day, but I would put each one of them on my Carolina rig after catching a fish. I'd change it out and put a different one. and I bought different colors, but they held on to that thing fantastic. It was a great line of baits and served me well on the second day. I actually caught way more fish on the second day than I did the first day, and I'm not sure that had something to do with it, but it definitely could have with the max scent. It's great, and they were definitely holding on to it. I didn't have any problems with fish letting it go or dropping it. They were choking it, and I was able to put every one of those bites in the boat.
Kentucky Lake, there's several schools close by, whether it's Berkley University or Murray State yourselves. I believe this is at least the second time that since I've been involved with helping as much as I do with the Collegiate Bass Fishing Series, Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series, that Murray State's won the tournament twice now in the fall that it's happened. Coming to a lake like that, you have history. You fish there a lot. You competed in the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley last year as well. So there's a track record there, a lot of success, maybe outside of our events, but you get out there and catch a lot of bass. What is it, whether it's yourself or the team's mentality, when you're fishing on your home waters? Does it kind of psych you out a little bit? Does it get you juiced up to want to go out and do really good? What is it like to be fishing close to home on a lake that 9 times out of 10 you should do really well, if not win an event, and then to go out and back it up, man, that says a lot.
Yeah, so for a lot of the other kids on the team and stuff, I believe that having history on that lake can help them and sometimes hurt them. But in my case, I'd never been to that end of the lake, but maybe once or twice in my life, and it wasn't during that time of year. So I was really going into the event blind. I was not planning on making a long run. I planned on staying down there because I knew that's where the bigger fish of the lake live, and they always have for years. I just have never had a chance to really learn it down there. So I went blind, and I think that actually helped me a lot, not getting caught up on history and just being able to start from scratch, starting on tournament day, no practice, just able to, fish like it's just a normal day. And, I think that's when I do the best, and a lot of others will agree with that. And that's what helped me the most.
We're talking with Harlan Thomas from Murray State University, winner of the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley. Hearing him talk about how he caught his fish and the different prizes that he's won so far. We'll get to the School of the Year points in just a minute, but let's kind of wrap up talking about the event and the way that you competed out there. So we have been discussing the overall big bass that won for you was 631. Paid out a lot of prizes, contingencies, you name it, but also the session prior to weighing in that bass, you had another one that went 540. That fish tied for 6th overall. At the time, in Session 3 presented by Bass Pro Shops, it earned you a $400 Bass Pro Shops gift card and a TH Marine Hydrowave H2, and then tied 6th overall. Didn't pay anything out other than an automatic qualification spot to the championship, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. But to have two fish like that, a lot of people probably enter the event. It's the fall. You're going out there. You're swinging for the fences. Man, just one big bite would be enough to make you happy. But to get two, would you have dreamt that was a possibility?
Yeah, I knew it was a possibility going to the event because the fish live there. It's just a process of elimination, and you just got to figure them out. And so I knew the possibility was there. I just had to do my part. And whenever I first caught that fish, it was kind of what I expected the deal was going to be. And that sun is what I needed. That's why I caught them so late in the day. When that sun finally got out there and up in the sky at about 11 or 11:30, that's when they started biting. That's when I got my first bite, and then the 540 was my second bite. And that really keyed me in for the rest of the tournament on what to do, what to target. And, that helped out a lot. And then actually on the 4th period of the next day, I was able to catch quite a few more quality fish, and one that would have put me up there, another one close to 5. But I was about 30 seconds late because I'm always pushing it till then, trying to get a bigger one. That time I just pushed a little bit too long and missed out on a few prizes, but, that's okay. I still am very thankful for the finish that I had.
And that finish, as we've been discussing, got you overall first place. You tied for 6th, and another teammate, I believe, was in 3rd. So of the maximum points that a school could have earned at the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley, I believe it totals about 3,490. Murray State earned 3,480. So did just about everything you could to earn the maximum amount of points last weekend. How good is that for y'all to know that to kick off the season, first ACA double points of the year, you pretty much earned every point possible that any school could have gotten at that tournament? That's got to go a long ways to getting y'all down the road towards the ultimate goal of winning the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia at season's end.
Yeah, that's a huge deal for us. I think that's probably one of the best overall finishes that we've had on a tournament. to almost get the max amount of points you can possibly get is just unreal. And I don't think that we could have asked for much more there. And, it qualified a couple of us for the national championship on Pickwick. And I think that I'm really looking forward to that, and so are the rest of us. That's going to be a real fun one. Hopefully we can get a couple of more guys qualified for that. But it's just right up our alley on the Tennessee River. So I think that we'll be able to do pretty dang good there too.
Yeah, we have the qualification criteria up on our website, collegiatebasschampionship.com, for the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops at Pickwick Lake that you're talking about. It's going to be the 19th edition, happening at the end of this season in May. Right there at Kentucky Lake this past weekend, the top 10 automatically earned qualification spots, of which Murray State secured 3. If the season ended today, that would get the team a total of 7 spots. There's still 2 more opportunities to earn automatic qualification bids throughout the year, so that number can have an opportunity to go up and increase, like you said. As we talk about that, how great is that? You've pretty much almost doubled the total number of qualification spots that you could earn in the matter of like the first couple months of the season, with still 6 or 8 months left to go to build on that number. To have that many boats qualified, it just maximizes an opportunity to get more points towards the end of the season. Of depending on where y'all stand in the race, it could really go a long ways at that triple points tournament.
Yeah, that's outstanding that we've been able to pull that off, and I don't think that we could ask for much more this early in the season. And the goal is to get as many as we can there, because the more boats we have from our team there, the better chance we have at maybe pulling off a win. And I think we definitely have just as good of a chance as anybody, if not better, because we've been raised, we've cut our teeth out there on Kentucky Lake on the Tennessee River. We understand how it works at Murray State. And Pickwick isn't far off Kentucky Lake as far as how it fishes. So I think that as long as we can keep doing it and keep getting more teams qualified, and as many as we can get there, I think that we're going to have a good chance and a good shot at winning. So that's the main goal at the end of it all, and that's what we're going for.
We'll wrap up the last question here real quick as we conclude talking about the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Depending on when this gets edited and uploaded tomorrow, today's Thursday while we talk, we should have this out on Friday. That same day we'll get the latest points update out as well for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. You guys are definitely going to move up, no doubt about it. Enter the event inside the top 10, likely going to slide on inside the top 5 or maybe even close to that number 1 spot as y'all work towards earning your school's first ever, potentially, Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. That's obviously the goal of the season. As you said, y'all want to go out and win. Murray State, one of the storied programs in collegiate fishing that have multiple national championship titles with the ACA, but never have won the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. If we get to season's end and the team does end up on top, man, how cool would that be? Kind of talk us through the emotions and how you would feel, because you will have definitely played a key role in it, as you already have, and then the team, man, to be able to cap it off, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing for us, because we've always struggled getting that top spot up there in the points, just because we don't have as many anglers on the team as some of these other schools to send out all the time and pay. And so we definitely got to work a little bit harder than some of the schools to put ourselves in that position. So if we could pull it off with any disadvantages that we have already and still pull it off, I think that would be amazing, and it would definitely be worth some celebrating. So, I mean, I think everybody would be happy and benefit from that outcome if that was to happen. So we're definitely going to do our best to make it happen. I think that we probably can, and we have a solid shot at it, especially with the start that we've begun this season.
That'll wrap up our interview with Harlan Thomas from Murray State University, winner of the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkley at Kentucky Lake. The next event, just a couple weeks away. We'll have a preview for it coming up soon here on the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass podcast. That'll be the AFCO Collegiate Bass Open taking place at Lake Darnell in Russellville, Arkansas, there in October, on October 14th through the 15th. Keep an eye out for that. Get over to our website, collegiatebasschampionship.com, to register now before that open registration closes in just a week or so. Harlan, man, thanks for joining us here today for the podcast. Safe travels out on the road, and best of luck for the rest of the tournament season.
All right, thank you.
fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
If you want to be here, it all starts here. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love to get you outdoors. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Shop with confidence with our low price guarantee. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.